This is Lake Tahoe, considered one of the most beautiful places in the world, falling somewhere in the top 7 wonders of the world, depending on what list you read. Located in the Sierra Nevadas, named Sierra Nevadas in 1776 by Padre Pedro, which translates to snow-covered mountains, which is an extremely lazy name for any mountain range. Lake Tahoe region consists of beautiful high mountains, obviously, a 125-acre lake, and a combination of quaint small communities and wealthy high-end neighborhoods. The basin consists of approximately 12 state parks, including Emerald Bay and D.L Bliss, which encompasses over 1,800 acres, and 5 wilderness areas, most notably Desolation Wilderness, which is just west of Lake Tahoe, and that's a part of the Pacific Crest Trail. Each park has an interesting historical feature that has shaped the current landscape. One such feature is the Rubicon Point Lighthouse, one of 4 lighthouses that were built around the lake. This feature was due to advocacy, which saved the lake back in 1900, in response to the Tahoe Rim Project, which would have significantly impacted the entire Lake Tahoe area by drastically dropping lake levels. With generous donations and property owners and conservationist groups coming together, the expensive and short-lived lighthouses were built. Due to its difficult access, the lighthouse lasted about 2 years. However, it gave way to the next lighthouse, which was built a little bit north at Sugar Pine Point. That's approximately 4 miles or so north of Rubicon Point. In the 1920s, the D.L Bliss family donated 744 acres, including the lighthouse itself, to the California park system, and that is how D.L Bliss State Park was born. The Rubicon Trail leads down to Vikingsholm Castle at the end of Emerald Bay, which there is plenty of shots of all over YouTube, and so that's why I'm not going to show a shot of Emerald Bay itself, because it's really easy to find. I mean, seriously, it's everywhere. With its prime location and array of activities that occurs in all seasons, the Tahoe Basin is a popular destination for weekend and day visitors. Visitors at Tahoe spend over $500 million annually, making up 60% of employment and 51% of earnings. All that is concentrated largely on weekends and day trips, meaning the area, especially on the weekends, is going to be busy. Very busy. So busy that, if you don't have a campsite or a cabin with guaranteed beach access, you're either left with having to arrive before sunrise, or like us, having to take a 3-mile trek down from the 89 freeway to the crowded beach. Well, why so early? Why do people need to show up at the crack of dawn in order to get a campsite? Well, that's simple. There's only a handful of parking spaces at the park. There's only a handful of campsites. Just the geography simply doesn't allow it. And so insane people will show up at the gates to the park at 6 in the morning during peak season and wait an hour for the gates to open at 7 and then rush down and get their spot. However, in spite of the crowds, D.L Bliss is worth the grueling mountainous trek. Grueling if you're carrying camera equipment, a toddler, drinks, gear, and you're actually unfit, which was 100% my situation last summer. Otherwise, really, it's not too bad. However, if you plan your trip accordingly, state parks allow you to book 6 months in advance, and D.L Bliss has some great campsites ranging from $35 to $45 respectively, depending on how close to the beach you want to go. Actually, that price range is pretty standard for most parks across the state of California. That guarantees that you'll be able to have a proper weekend without running into these unexpected issues. Honestly, that is the only way you are going to get a spot on the weekends in the summertime, is if you book 6 months in advance. So after obviously stating how busy and crowded Tahoe can be, if you've never been to this part of the world before and you've never been to the Sierra Nevada mountain range, what else is there to do outside of Lake Tahoe? Well, there's actually plenty. You see, Tahoe is like the crown jewel of the Sierras. You have to see it. It's like visiting London. You have to go visit the Buckingham Palace. However, there's plenty of wonderful things outside of the Buckingham Palace in London that you of course need to visit as well. And that's going to be the main focus of these next few videos, is trying to make sure that people are made aware of alternatives that are only within an hour's drive or so of the crown jewel of the Sierras.
All right. We're at Lake of the Woods. Ow, fuck. Oh. Fuck. All right. Anyway, we're We're at Lake of the Woods. We got here maybe about an hour ago, and the sun is setting, and I'm walking on this little peninsula right here, and this place is absolutely amazing. I'm rocking my 1980s ski jacket right now. It's probably out of style when it was made. So, check this out. You'll get my face in the picture the whole time. Yeah.
Desolation Wilderness is an amazing stretch of beauty that everybody needs to experience if they ever go to the Sierra Nevadas. It isn't anything you can drive up to. These lakes you have to hike into. One of the more popular entrances to Desolation Valley is through Lower Echo Lake. You can walk along Lower and Upper Echo Lake into the valley, or you can go by boat and skip the whole thing, which was kind of a scenic thing that I remember doing back in 2014 when we did this trip. It's an amazing place. The wind can be very high. The mosquitoes can be crazy when there's no wind, but if you go in there with the right gear and you don't overload yourself with too much weight, which was one of my mistakes, you'll have an excellent time going from lake to lake. You can fish. You can basically sustain yourself through just fishing, which is something that we did when we were back there for that week stretch. We actually didn't bring all the food that we technically should have. However, we definitely made off the difference. Once again, something to note, and this is going to be a pretty consistent theme for the next few videos we're doing here, is you need to have permits in order to hike into this valley. Make sure you book it well into advance. If you wait, you're not going to be able to stay at any of the lakes that you would most likely want to stay at, such as Lake Aloha, and you probably are not going to have any room at any campsites. I doubt you'll run into a park ranger who's enforcing things out there, but you will run into several issues down the line. This trip was some of the most memorable experiences in my life. Hiking in and out of these valleys and climbing over these 9,500 foot plus peaks was just amazing. And I know my camera that I'm filming on is ultimately from like 2012. It really doesn't do its justice. Here's Tiana climbing over one of them.
Desolation Wilderness. Dick's Peak. Richard Peak. 9,400 feet. Ran into a little bit of snow. This is the highest Tiana has ever been. Stay focused. No time for laughing.
Stay alive. Pop and smoke.
Rocks.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, oh, I love you. Baby rocks. Fuck snow.
Fuck snow so hard right now. Yes. I made it.